Hello and welcome. I hope that you are doing well. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We're talking books. And today's book is Paper Towns by John Green. This is the sad Margot cover. It was published in 2008. And I have read this book before, but it felt like it was time for a reread. So I read it to make it a little more interesting. I then listened on an audiobook to it, and now we're going to talk about it here. It's the perfect book to read this time of year because many of us are thinking of trips and vacations, and we'll have more on that coming up. So almost every reader is familiar with two of this author's books, The Fault in Our Stars and Looking for Alaska. But this book that we're talking about today, I feel is often overlooked. I consider it the most underappreciated of John Green's books, and if you haven't read it, let me tell you a little bit about it. And this book has one of my favorite beginnings of a book. So in the prologue, the main character, Quentin, says, "The way I figure it, everyone gets a miracle. Like, I will probably never be struck by lightning, or win a Nobel Prize, or become the dictator of a small nation in the Pacific Islands, or contract terminal ear cancer, or spontaneously combust. But if you consider all the unlikely things together, at least one of them will probably happen to each of us. I could have seen it rain frogs. I could have stepped foot on Mars. I could have been eaten by a whale. I could have married the Queen of England or survived months at sea. But my miracle was different. My miracle was this. Out of all the houses in all the subdivisions in all of Florida, I ended up living next door to Margot Roth Spiegelman." So at the end of high school, Margot and Quentin aren't really friends anymore. But one night, Margot knocks on his window. She's enacting an 11-step revenge and needs, or rather wants, Quentin's help. So after an amazing night, Quentin goes to school with very little sleep, wondering if their friendship will change at all, only discover that Margot is not there. Not only is she not at school, she is not around anywhere. Margot has disappeared. Her parents suspect that she has run away again, and they're over it. Quentin, however, is worried. And while looking out his window one afternoon, he notices a poster on the shade of Margot's room facing outward, and he knows that it was put there for him. And this poster will lead Quentin and friends on a search for Margot Roth Spiegelman. And I'm going to stop talking about the plot of this book there, because any summary I give of it is not going to do justice to the story. You're never going to understand how amazing it is from what I'm saying. What you will love about this book, the characters John Green creates. They're different from one another. They're all lovable in some way, but they are realistic. So they have strengths, and they have faults, and they have insecurities, as we all do. You'll love the interactions between the characters, the witty banter, and the geeky things they say and do. The characters change and grow throughout the story, and they begin to see one another as they are, not as the stereotypes of who they believe one another to be. At first, Quentin is obsessed with his idea of Margot, but as the story progresses, he begins to see Margot as a real person. The story takes place at the end of high school, and the atmosphere reflects this, especially the lightness and the breaking down of barriers between people. Everyone is friends with everyone else. I don't remember feeling this so much at the end of high school, but I do remember feeling this at times where either I was leaving a job or someone else was leaving a job, and I could see like our coworkers just started to put aside the things that irritated them about one another, and they began to be more friendly toward each other for their final days together. This book, in my opinion, has the best road trip of any book I've read with a road trip. Usually I mention books that are similar to the main book that I am talking about. I'm going to do two different things here. first, since I mentioned that I think that this is an underrated John Green book, I'm going to mention 3 other underrated John Green books from my perspective. And first I'm going to talk about the Anthropocene Reviewed. I don't have a copy of that here with me, but it started as a podcast where he read essays about everyday things and rated them on a 5-point scale. And those essays were made into a book, and the book is the Anthropocene Reviewed. Everything is tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is a disease that is curable yet kills millions of people every year. Over time, it's been romanticized as a disease of artists and creative people. It has influenced beauty standards and has touched the lives of people from Frederick Chopin to Emily Bronte to Vivian Leigh and George Orwell. Turtles all the way down, and this is the story of Asa, who lives with OCD, and she's trying to make sense of her life and concerns. When a millionaire disappears, Asa's friend Daisy convinces her to reignite a friendship with that millionaire's son so that they can get information to help find the missing millionaire and collect the reward money. So Asa and Daisy are searching for the missing millionaire. At the same time, Asa is trying but struggling in so many ways. Now we're going to talk about books that have road trips. So I've got 2 to mention. One of them is a mystery and one of them is a story you've probably heard of before. We'll start with Sadie by Courtney Summers. Sadie's sister has been killed and the person who did it has gotten off. Sadie decides to go search for this person so that she can bring justice to the situation. As she is searching, a reporter hears about it, and he goes on the road and does a podcast about Sadie's story. The other one, the one you've heard about, no doubt, is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Most of the Harry Potter books take place in Hogwarts, the school. This one takes Harry, Hermione, and Ron on the road in search of Horcruxes and their final battle with Voldemort. So a large portion of it feels like a book about a road trip, and it is a fun read. And there we are. I hope that you enjoyed hearing about Paper Towns by John Green and other underappreciated John Green books. I will be back next time when we will talk about That Kind of Girl by Natalie C. Anderson. I hope that you will join me then, and until then, I hope that you enjoy all that you do and all that you read. And thank you.